Sid Cooley here with Star Sports as action is coming thick and fast with the Wimbledon Championships now very much at the business end of the tournament. And I'm delighted to say joining us on Star Sports is tennis coach extraordinaire, a media personality, and the founder of an academy that bears his name. It is, of course, the incomparable Patrick Mouratoglou. Patrick, thanks ever so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No, pleasure's all ours. It's been ages since I've seen you, of course.
True.
Now, we are in the middle of Wimbledon at the moment. Only one place to start. You've coached some of the best in the world, Holger Rune, Grigor Dimitrov, and of course, Serena Williams. Just what does it take to mentally succeed at a tournament like Wimbledon?
Well, it's a very difficult tournament because players are not used to grass. They're playing just a few weeks per year on grass, and it's so different in many ways. First of all, the movement. I think it's the key is the movement, and as you can see, it's very difficult to stop and come back. So you have to make a lot of small steps. You can slide, you can fall. So to be able to take the ball early, take time away from the opponent is a key. If you're able also to mix the game, use the slice, top spin, and play flat sometimes because the grass, the surface reacts so different to all those type of spins. I think that's the key element, and of course, as always, to win a Grand Slam, it's the mental side that will make all the difference. The players that are able to play well on the key moments. If you watch Carlos Alcaraz's last match, for example, I cannot say he was better than his opponent during the match, but on every key moment, he was the better player, and that made the difference. Winning a Grand Slam, it's a question of personality and confidence when it takes to the big moments.
Speaking of those big moments, Patrick, I recently saw you talk about Roger Federer and the clip where he said he only won 54% of all the games throughout the course of his career. Similar numbers for Novak Djokovic and Rafa Nadal, which actually might surprise quite a few of our viewers. So from your perspective, Patrick, your insight, what actually makes a difference in the course of a match?
Yeah, it's very surprising. People would think, oh man, a guy like Roger probably won 80% of the points throughout his career. No, only 54, just a little bit more than his opponents. And it says everything about tennis. People have a misconception about tennis, and they're trying, and I say this even for leisure players, they're trying to play well. Tennis is not about playing well. How many times do they play well? Do you think that Carlos Alcaraz is playing well? He's not. He won Roland Garros, he didn't play great. But when it takes to the big moments, he's able to win. So the key is not to play well, the key is to find a solution to win. And that's what people should look forward to doing when they're playing a match. The key moments are, of course, what makes the big difference. Sometimes you win a match, you won 1 or 2 points more than your opponent, and sometimes you won less points than your opponent, but you're still able to win the match because if you're able to convert the break point, save the break point, at 30-all, make the point and get a break point, or avoid a break point, that makes such a huge difference. So that's why the confidence is so important, because when the key moments come, the pressure goes high, the stress is high, and the ones who are the most confident are able to handle that better and even play their best when it counts the most.
Indeed, Patrick. Now, you've traveled the world. You've seen the best that tennis has to offer. For our viewers, could you talk us through why Wimbledon is so special?
Well, Wimbledon is so special because Wimbledon, it's tradition. And when you enter that stadium, you feel the weight of the history. Also, it's probably the most beautiful Grand Slam. It looks incredible. It looks like a perfect carpet. And again, the fact that you feel you're in a historical place gives a sense of, wow, this is my time. This is the moment I have to deliver. And I think that as a spectator, when you come there, you feel the same. You feel the weight of the history. You feel it's so different also from any other tournament. For that reason, for the fact that everything has stayed so traditional, so historical.
Indeed, Patrick, and one game coming up today, of course, features someone you know very well, Holger Rune of Denmark. You've coached him, of course. He's taking on 7-time champion Novak Djokovic, who ahead of the game said he's expecting fireworks. How are you seeing this match play out?
I think that's the right word. I would use the same. Between them, it's sorry. Between them, it's really special. They have a younger. Holger is still young, but they've played each other several times already. The first time they played each other, it was the final of the 1000 Masters 1000 in Paris, and Holger won. Then he played him again in Rome in the Masters 1000, and he won again. He beat Novak, but Novak beat him also a few times. Every time the matches were so tight, so close. So Holger loves those matches. He loves big crowd, big stadium, big players. He has so much respect for for Novak, but he doesn't fear him in a way that he knows he can beat him, and he knows how to beat him. But of course, Novak knows also how to beat Holger. So I think it's going to be a close match. I think Holger is going to go for his shots. He knows he has to play his best. He knows he has to take strong decisions and go for it, and I'm sure he's going to do it. And Novak will try to handle Holger's power, move him, and probably mix the game as much as he can. But it's going to be a very dangerous match for Novak.
Indeed, and I think he seems to echo that sentiment. Just one more on this Wimbledon, of course, Patrick, before we change tack and talk about some of the other things that you're involved with. As things stand, lots of upsets, lots of action that's happened in the last few days, a lot of big names going out. Who are your front runners for the gentlemen and ladies as things stand?
You're right, a lot of surprises, but it comes back to what I said earlier. The grass is such a different surface. It's not easy. Players have very little time to switch from clay to grass, which is kind of opposite surfaces. One is bouncing low, requires to make a lot of small steps. The other one, you slide and the bounce is high. So it's completely different. So that's explained also the upsets. And that happens quite often. On the men's side, I would say a bit less upsets because Novak is here, Carlos is here, Sinner is here. So the three that you expected are still playing and still winning. It's a tough one. I would think the one I think is playing the best tennis, looks the more comfortable from the start, looks completely in control, is Sinner. So if I had to name one, I would say Sinner, but it's difficult to count out the two others. They're so strong. Novak has such a history, and also at Wimbledon. And Carlos just won a Grand Slam, won Wimbledon last year, so he's going to be dangerous too. But I would say a little edge for Sinner. On the women's side, it's very open. Wow, it's crazy. Hasn't been that open for a long time. I've been impressed by Emma Navarro. I saw her play. She's not very famous, but I saw her play in Indian Wells, and I was already impressed by her. And I said this one is going to do something really big. And I'm not surprised she's still here. Coco lost yesterday. I thought she could go far, but and Ons also is out. Iga is out, so I would say Rybakina is the second one. Rybakina won here. I think grass is perfect for her game, and she's the one that has more experience than others, so she can probably count on that to go all the way.
Wonderful stuff, Patrick. Final couple of questions. Let's talk about the Indian market. Huge population, a lot of appetite for tennis. How do you look at the potential of Indian tennis going forward?
I mean, I'm not saying this because you're standing in front of me, but I really want to do something there. I think the potential is huge. It's such a big country. There is a lot of history with tennis. And I think India deserves champions, big champions. You've had in the past, but we need to build the next ones. And I mean, if there is something to do in this country, I'll be the happiest.
Well, we'll be delighted, Patrick. Of course we will. Just finally, let's talk about something you're very passionate about, the Morogo Academy, of course. Give us a scoop about what's coming up.
Well, it's a long story. We started in 1996, so you were not born. It was in the previous century. So we have a lot of history. We've helped a lot of young players become champions. The last ones were Coco Gauff, Stefanos Tsitsipas, Holger Rune, just to name three. But we built champions since 1996. That's what we're here for. We also have a lot of campers who come for a week, and this is open to everyone. But we are still building the next generation of champions, and that's what's exciting. There is nothing better, and that was my point from day one when I started, to help young players achieve their dreams, and the dreams is tennis. That's our job. Is there anything more beautiful than that? I don't think so.
Making dreams come true is a business you made very much your own. Patrick, top stuff. Thanks ever so much for joining us on Star Sports Top Man.
That was a pleasure.
Thank you.